Well, folks, we've got something kind of interesting here for you today. We're looking at this 2022 Hyundai Veloster N, the only model now sold here in Canada and the first of their new N performance models. But it's still the middle of winter. It's not ideal to be driving a front-wheel drive little sports car like this. However, we have been doing it. We've got some good winter tires on here, and we'll be talking a little bit about how this vehicle performs in the winter. But I want to talk about why you might be considering the Veloster N. Well, first of all, it uses a 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder engine, produces 275 horsepower, 260 pound-feet of torque. Not bad for a pretty small vehicle. Now, this one's configured with the new 8-speed N wet dual clutch transmission. You can get a 6-speed manual as well as this new dual clutch transmission. Personally, I prefer this. I don't like driving manuals, so having this is much better. Great for traffic, great for performance because it actually shaves off some time on the 0 to 100 kilometer for this vehicle, and you get the enjoyment of having something that you can drive on a daily basis without being worried that you're going to be stuck in traffic or stuck on a hill somewhere, which often enough happens when I'm driving manual cars. Now, there isn't anything new for 2022. It's a carryover year from the previous year, and the previous year just added a new paint color and some standard safety tech. However, as I mentioned, this is the only model now available in Canada. That was as of last year. And this year, for 2022, it is the only model available in the United States. They don't sell the regular versions of the Veloster anymore, which is, I guess, unfortunate for any enthusiasts out there who like these vehicles. At least we do have the holy grail of them now. But the sales are sort of going down for consumer vehicles in general. A lot of people are going more towards crossovers, so that makes sense. And Hyundai will be rolling out the new Kona N and Elantra N, not the N lines, they're full N vehicles. So we'll see how those compare to this if we get the chance to drive them. But for the most part, you're looking at this because you want something that is sporty, fun to drive, not necessarily very big. This is quite a bit smaller than any of the other compact vehicles we've driven. And it's hard to say what this would compare with directly. The obvious answer would be something like the Volkswagen GTI, similarly priced. You can't quite get them configured the same way. You either go with one that's a little less equipped and has less of an MSRP when it comes to the GTI, or you go fully loaded and it's a little bit more, but you get more tech. So I guess they're similarly priced, but the shape of this isn't quite in line with something like a 5-door Volkswagen GTI. This is more of a 2-door, but it isn't, because there's a 3rd door behind the front on the passenger side, and then you do have a lift back. So I don't know what you want to call it. It is technically a compact vehicle, and surprisingly, it works out pretty well for a family of 3 like myself. I think it's ideal. I've got the bigger door on the driver's side, but my daughter has her own door. She doesn't have to worry about opening the front door and jumping into the back. So I think it works out pretty well if that's what you're going for. Now, since I haven't driven the Veloster before, I can't go over anything that's really different over the regular ones, but I can tell you what's new with this new N wet dual clutch transmission. There's a fun mode on here called the N Grin Shift. It increases the torque by 7% temporarily by over boosting the turbo. When you push the button, it will automatically switch to the lowest available gear and give you 20 seconds of the most sport-oriented performance you can get out of this vehicle. So I think it's cool that they're pushing the turbo power up a little bit over the limit, and you can only use it every couple minutes. So you use it for 20 seconds and it's got to cool down for a bit, and it won't activate if the vehicle itself is too hot, the transmission, the engine, things like that. So it's well monitored. I don't know how long-term reliability will be for something like that. I don't think you should be using it all the time, but Hyundai says it would be good for passing slower traffic. Maybe you're on the highway, or if you really are ripping it, maybe on a drag strip, something like that, the option is there. There's a couple other features, including rev matching and the launch control system, plus the custom N controls to adapt the vehicle the way that you want. And again, available depending on which one you go with, whether it's the dual clutch or the 6-speed. Now, the inside, again, I said space is pretty decent, especially in the back seat and the trunk area if you're looking at a family daily driver and you want to have some fun with it. Up front, we have the 8-inch infotainment system, has navigation, Sirius XM, Apple CarPlay, and Android Auto with an 8-speaker Infinity audio system. And then these new N lightweight seats up front, they say they save 2 kilograms off the weight, and even for a big guy like me, I do fit well enough in there. It's a mix of cloth and leatherette, so it's not over-the-top luxury, but it's kind of what you're getting for about $40,000 Canadian. They are pretty comfortable, manual controls all the way around. You have heated seats in the front, heated steering wheel, and single zone automatic climate control. And then for the most part, all the safety stuff that you would want: lane departure alert, lane keep assist, rear cross traffic alert, high beam assist, driver attention warning, things like that. So again, for the price, pretty decent. But I think a lot of people are going to be looking at this and something like the Volkswagen GTI. The GTI does have less power. It has about 34 horsepower more and a little bit more torque, plus it's got that overboost system. But both vehicles do offer either a manual or a dual clutch transmission. But it'll be interesting to see if people will still be interested in buying this. Will Hyundai continue manufacturing it for this market, or do they think that people will go to the Kona N and the Elantra N? Both offer more space. They're both more or less the same price, and each has slightly different kit and features, but this is sort of the original N. So I guess if that's what you're going for, this is still it. But I want to take it on the road. I want to talk about how the 2022 Hyundai Veloster N performs in the winter. All right, before we get into the real nitty-gritty of this review, I want to just mention our fuel economy. We completed our 100-kilometer test loop in this Veloster N in 7 liters per 100 kilometers. Not too bad overall for a small vehicle. Yeah, this is certainly one of the smallest vehicles that we've done. Yeah, obviously there are subcompact cars and things like that, but this is technically still a compact vehicle, but it does feel smaller, even though the inside space is decent enough. You know, you're gonna have more room, I'd say, on something like a Volkswagen Golf GTI, but for the most part, it gets the job done. I think there's a small segment of buyers who would want something like this, because it really is a dying breed. I mean, it is very difficult, almost impossible here in North America to have a small vehicle like this, especially a sporty one. Yeah, nobody really makes a two-door hatchback anymore, and this kind of gives you the best of both worlds. You've got that door in the back. Is it comfortable to get into? No. I actually kind of hurt my back getting in and out of the back seat there, just because there really isn't a lot of space. I'm also a big guy. I'm 6 feet tall as well, so that wasn't super fun. I do fit back there. If I had to be in the back seat, it is doable. It's just not overly comfortable, and whoever's sitting on the passenger seat in the front, they're gonna have to pull their seat up a little bit more than how I had it configured. But anyway, I mean, it's functional. Trunk space at least is also decent enough, right? It's deep, so you can put some groceries and stuff back there. You've got some functionality there. But again, there's not much choice in this segment if you want something that is performance oriented. So you're looking at this, you're looking at the Golf GTI. I mean, anything else is going to be sort of luxury oriented. Now, I'm sure most people who are going to be looking at this will look at the manual transmission, and that's fine. Go and buy it. It's going to be about $1,500 less, which is okay. I don't like driving that, and this gives me the best experience as far as I'm concerned. The shifting time on this is really fast, and this is actually what I said many years ago when I first drove the Kia Stinger. This is the type of transmission that should be in the Stinger, and this is now in a number of vehicles from Hyundai. Like I mentioned, they've got 2 more N vehicles coming out. I don't know how popular they're going to be, but you know, you've got some options to have that transmission. So I do like it. It shifts very well. Even in automatic mode, it has some potential there. So, you know, you can drive it the way that you want, but overall I've had a good time with the transmission. It is nice to be able to see how it performs in a more performance-oriented setting. Now, my custom mode is set up to basically everything be in Sport Plus mode, except I have traction control completely on because the roads here are still kind of crappy. It hasn't snowed recently, but the roads don't get cleared in Quebec. If you've ever come to this province, you might find that out. So roads are still got some ice patches and stuff on it, so I don't really want to crash this car. So traction control stays on, but everything else is in Sport Plus. You do feel, first of all, the steering is very heavy when it's in Sport Plus mode, and I like it. If you put it in Eco mode, where you configure things down so that it's not as heavy, it's fine. Suspension is also pretty firm too, but again, it's kind of what you're looking for if you want to have a performance-oriented experience. Oh yeah. And it tells you when to shift. Not only do you have a little gauge on the gauge cluster area that shows you visually, but that little ding, it's normally the ding like you've done something wrong and it's letting you know, it'll ding when you're supposed to shift up too. So not only do you have those visual cues should you need them, you also have that audible cue if you haven't really gotten used to the engine sound itself and you know when you're supposed to be shifting up. So I do like that. Now I'm going to put the car back into automatic mode. Let's say I'm driving along here
And I don't know, maybe there is some slower traffic, or, you know, you just want to grin. That's the whole reason why it's called the grin shift mode. Oh, buddy. Oh, that's quick. And it's the point of that. It is to give you a big smile on your face, and that's what happens when you push the button. So I think it's a good idea that Hyundai named it that. It does exactly what it's supposed to. Oh, and I just like the little firecracker coming out of the back there. It's pretty much what you would expect. Oh, the roads are terrible though, but a lot of fun. I think if you're looking at something that is different, you might want to be considering this, because again, a dying breed. There aren't really any vehicles like this anymore. So if you're in the market for something, I would say buy it now. I don't know if this is going to exist in 2023. You might need to make your decision soon. Now, we'll take it from a dig here. Launch control is set. Supposed to get up to 2,500. Almost there. Oh, a lot of tire spin. Oh, buddy. Not bad. 100. Does it actually have that information recorded? Let's see. I didn't record it, but you know what? It was pretty close. It's supposed to do about 5.6 seconds, 0 to 100 kilometers. I'd say that that wasn't too bad. Probably closer to the 6-second mark. We did lose some traction there as we were going up, mostly because, again, roads are pretty crap here, so you can't really expect too much, but yeah, fun nonetheless. It is an enjoyable car. I think people who should be looking at this aren't necessarily buying something because you want a track monster. I'm sure this will do fine. Obviously, it's not something that we do testing for here on Test Drive. But if you're looking for something that is different, is enjoyable to drive, is reasonably priced. You know, I still feel that this and something like the Volkswagen GTI just are a little pricey, especially considering this. I mean, everything is very hard plastic. It's very hard plastic. It's not even symmetrical on the inside here. I noticed that, like, the little trim on the driver's side door panel is different from the trim on the passenger side, and it is, you know, very, very different on the inside here. Let's just put it that way. But it's functional. So if you're looking for something different, you don't necessarily want to go with, you know, a Honda Civic Si or the Volkswagen GTI. You want something different, this could be an option for you. It has certainly opened my eyes to see what this vehicle has to offer. And while it's not necessarily the one that I would be picking, only because I'm not in the market for this type of vehicle, it is nice to have had the chance to drive it. But if you have any questions about this episode or this car in general, please let me know in the comments below. I do try to get back to everybody I can, so just leave a comment below, give a thumbs up to the video if you liked it, and also consider subscribing to the channel for more content like this. Thanks for watching, and until next time, take care.